Key point 1. One step at a time, but daily. Mini habits are small, gradual steps towards your ultimate goal of forming a new positive habit. If you want to run a marathon, start with a mile a day. When that feels too easy for you, begin running longer distances. For example, fancy learning a new language? Don't attempt to study all the rules and exceptions to achieve this right away. First, take a look at the phonetics. As soon as you learn to pronounce the alphabet correctly, you can move on to learning some simple words. The beauty of a mini habit is that there's nothing complicated about it. This goal you can always accomplish. Scientists have calculated that habits constitute 45% of behavior, and this number may increase. Since life is changing rapidly and people constantly feel the pressure to keep up with its pace, the level of stress rises. As a result, people adhere to their habits more, which means replacing or implementing one becomes a challenge. Thus, be aware of the ubiquitous catch. Don't postpone running or learning a few new words, thinking that if you skip it today, you'll do more tomorrow. Or, to make things worse, leave it all for one unknown day. Many habits are like seeds, and regularity is their fertilizer. Small intentions always go farther than big ones. However, a lot of us focus on big things as if only they matter. Yet, we usually don't understand that life doesn't work this way. Everything starts small. As a result of our impatient pursuit of happiness, we often find ourselves stuck with no apparent way out. Don't be too hard on yourself. Give yourself a chance to have one small accomplishment each day. Key point 2. Mini habits bring extra outcome, confidence. A goal usually lies outside your comfort zone, and that's what makes it challenging. Generally, 2 strategies may assist in reaching it. The first one promises significant results in a short time. It requires all your effort, mainly because of fierce resistance and a lack of motivation. Albeit, it seems like a shortcut. The outcome can cost you burnout. Besides, effects usually don't last long as typical behavior often returns. You can achieve long-lasting change by turning your new behavior into a habit. In this case, instead of jumping from your comfort zone to your aim, you extend the range of activities you're comfortable with. It's a new level of personal development, but it takes time. Experiments prove that forming a new habit depends on different variables, such as your personality or the difficulty of the goal. Therefore, it usually takes more than 4 weeks. In some cases, the period may be up to 8 months. Like with a marathon, you need to use your inner resources correctly. And that's when a method of mini habits comes in handy. It allows you to implement a new pattern with flying colors. The volume of what you should do is so tiny that it destroys the resistance. For instance, knowing it's absurd that you can't read 1 page daily eliminates the tension. If you study more, it's excellent, but a page is also a good job. Moreover, when you've read in the morning, your resolution doesn't pressure you anymore during the day. You've already taken a step toward your goal. It gives you freedom and boosts your self-assurance. Mini habits return the belief that you can accomplish your goals. Consider mini habits a tool to increase confidence. Daily victories will build up self-reliance and pave the way for future achievements. Key point 3. Recurrent behavior teaches your brain to automate. We form habits by repeating similar actions over and over again. The same is also true about emotions. Suppose we react to a specific stimulus with anger. In that case, our brain remembers that we should be angry whenever we see or encounter this stimulus. Our brains and bodies work together by forming neural paths. When you try to do things differently, your brain resists, complicating building a new pattern. Your task here is to reward yourself for a new mini habit. Let us consider the running example. As you have run your mile, you might feel agitated and short of breath, your heart pumping. That sounds like a scary experience. Here, you should concentrate on your breathing and simultaneously think about the benefits this practice has brought you, and that much more is to come in the future. When you repeat a behavior over time, your brain learns to automate the process. Stephen Guise. How can you know that your mini habit has become automatic? First of all, you do it fast and almost effortlessly. You find it easier to make decisions quickly. To some extent, this decision has already germinated in your head, and now your body acts on it. Where exactly in your head? Basal ganglia are structures in your brain responsible for recognizing patterns. They react to repeated actions without analyzing them. However, another part of the brain does that, the prefrontal cortex. It understands long-term consequences and benefits and can override the basal ganglia. Yet, it has one weak point. Its functioning requires much effort. Therefore, if you feel drained by work or negative emotions, you start to act automatically and may return to finding excuses. For this reason, it's essential to form healthy habits, which will be your support even in times of tiredness. The prefrontal cortex estimates possibilities that exist for us in the future, but you need to train it. Key point 4. Motivation will not help you build new habits. Motivation is a great tool to have at your disposal. Psychologists, business coaches, and even teachers have spoken extensively about motivation's benefits. However, you will likely fail when you rely on it to help you establish a new habit. The trap is that you can't force this type of enthusiasm to appear. Consequently, by leaning on motivation, you shift responsibility for your success from yourself to the elusive feeling that comes and goes. It depends on such factors as your current mood, hormonal imbalances, and other people discouraging you from whatever you're doing. That's why you need the willpower to succeed. Your inner strength depends on no one and nothing except you. Willpower allows the decisions you make and for you to stick to them. Willpower has the following advantages over motivation. 1. Willpower is your faithful ally. Willpower means that you can force yourself to do something you loathe. In contrast, motivation can disappear when your blood sugar level drops. 2. You can train your willpower. Professor Roy Baumeister, a leading self-control researcher, compares willpower to a muscle. With regular practice, it grows stronger. 3. You can set a time for willpower. You decide when and where to do something and stick to your plan. If you have your swim practice scheduled for Tuesday and Thursday mornings, that is exactly when you do it. Willpower eliminates the issue of making excuses for yourself. Did you know? When you long to learn a new language and start doing it, you feel a wave of enthusiasm. However, the more you do it, the less your motivation becomes. It's a natural process since repetition of action reduces your emotional attachment to it. That's why motivation can't be a base for a habit. Key point 5. Mini habits strengthen your willpower. Ego depletion theory presupposes that our inner resources are limited, and we cannot use them forever. Here's a list of things that weaken your willpower and reasons why mini habits will neutralize them. Effort. No good will ever come when you try to do too much all at once. You'll be exhausted with little results. Imagine that you plan to clean the house, work out, and go food shopping. You can succeed in completing one of these activities, but failing to do the rest will leave you disappointed with yourself. Cut them in half and then cut again, and there is your daily list of small habits. Mini habits do not require extensive effort. These things you can do with ease. Negative effects appear when you experience unpleasant feelings. For instance, your friend eats chocolate near you while you're trying to stick to a diet. It rarely happens with mini habits since these steps require little sacrifice. Subjective fatigue is how we estimate the level of being tired. Thus, fatigue is always a subjective category. When we're excited and somewhat carried away by the things we do, we pay less attention to how exhausted we feel. On the other hand, no matter the size, some boring activities drain us. No such problem comes with mastering mini habits. They have no potential to make us tired. Blood glucose levels are critical for our body to function properly. If levels are too high for a long time, a person might develop diabetes. However, low levels are also dangerous because one might get dizzy and faint. Mini habits never let that happen, as you don't need a lot of energy to implement them. Perceived difficulty. The only thing it does is help you build your anxiety about a future event. We often overestimate how difficult some tasks will be, and sometimes the anticipation of difficulty takes over. In the end, we don't do it. Our willpower is significantly hurt. As you have probably understood by now, No such thing is possible with mastered mini habits. Key point 6. A guide to developing your mini habits. Here is a step-by-step plan to help you determine which habits you need to develop and the best ways to do it. Step 1. Set your priorities right. Create a mind map of habits that appeal to you. Opt for 1 or at maximum 3 that are crucial for you. Step 2. Define your purpose. So you wrote down the habits you want to have. Analyze why. Chosen practices must be rooted in your values, not a wish to obtain validation or prove something. Step 3. Determine when you practice a new habit. For example, you can read at a specific time or after a particular activity, facilitating the implementation of a new habit. Step 4. Choose the reward that overshadows troubles. Even if your habit contains some degree of nuance, you can still do it on the condition that you persuade your brain there's a reward. Unpleasant things you have to do stop being a punishment when you develop a proper reward for doing them. Rewards of all kinds may be a viable way to restore your willpower. Stephen Guise. Step 5. Write it down. We often have a lot of thoughts in our heads, and sometimes it seems overwhelming. However, they start to acquire shape if we materialize them in writing. Moreover, when written, they don't seem so intimidating or unrealistic. However, make sure you write, not type. Write things down pen to paper and make your thoughts and mini habits more transparent. Step 6. Start small. Break all big things into smaller pieces. Break one significant achievement into smaller goals. The same is true about habits. Think small to make big things happen. Step 7. Don't be hard on yourself. High expectations are only good at making you more apprehensive about possibly failing. Sticking to your routine's regularity is much more important than humiliating yourself for not moving heaven and earth. Step 8. Be patient. The mini habits strategy works, but you must remember to take your time. You can only move to the next level when you feel confident and secure doing what you choose. Key point 7. To pick a new habit easier, follow these rules. Some rules are meant to be broken. These aren't. Follow them to become a better, more potent version of yourself. 1. Always be honest with yourself. You have no one else to lie to here. If your daily habit requires you to read for 10 minutes, that is what you should do. Never postpone until tomorrow thinking you can do twice as much. 2. Congratulate yourself, even with small achievements. We're starting small, remember? Praise yourself for what you've done. If you can't move to the next level or develop your habit quickly, that's fine too. All comes at a good time. 3. A reward is a vital necessity. To simplify forming a new habit, gladden yourself when you stick to your plan successfully. You can reward yourself with food or a monologue in the mirror. 4. Perceive ups and downs with calmness. Your thinking needs to be cool and objective. Don't let your mind rush between your anxieties about the future. The same goes for making progress. There's no such thing as celebrating yourself too hard. 5. Resistance means that you should make the task easier. Your willpower might be strong, but it would help if you found a balance between things you're reluctant to do and things that might harm you somehow. Willpower is limited. If you push beyond your means now, you'll crash and burn later. Break the tasks that seem overwhelming into smaller and more doable ones. 6. Don't underestimate any progress. Every mini habit is an achievement. However, the achievement may be worthless if you underestimate its significance. Every time you feel tempted to do so, write down why what you did is beneficial for you now and what you will reap in the future. Conclusion. We are born into this world to learn and grow. None of us has a set of skills for successful living. Even if we had, these sets would have to be very different, as every human being is unique. We make ourselves. Many habits are a natural yet often overlooked path to achieving our goals. Everything we want to do should start small and gradually build up, whether drawing with watercolors or starring in a musical. In pursuit of this, we should rely on something other than motivation. Its level depends on too many factors to be reliable. Thus, motivation is a fragile phenomenon. What you need is willpower. You can train your inner strength like a muscle, and it won't vanish when your blood sugar drops. A mini habit is an achievement you can be proud of every time you implement it. Reward yourself and make do with taking things slow and small. Try this. Your goal might be to go for a 30-minute walk to combat your anxiety. When the time comes, you start inventing excuses. So try to break walking into smaller parts. First, imagine how you get dressed for a walk. Is it hard to do that? If not, do it. Then move on to putting on your shoes. Open the door and close it behind you. You are doing it. Occasionally, look back and laugh at how simple it all was. Reward yourself for the deed. Next time you are indecisive, remember this small victory.